Grab your popcorn, sit down with me, and listen carefully to this unbelievable village story. This is the story of two twin sisters. In a quiet village called Ajanla, surrounded by tall palm trees and a peaceful flowing river, lived a respected woman everyone called Ibeji. Years earlier, tragedy had struck her home. Her husband died from a sudden illness when their twin daughters were still babies. From that moment, Ibeji raised the girls alone. She worked hard every day, farming, cooking, and selling in the market just to give her daughters a better life. As the twins grew older, something became very clear to everyone in the village. Even though they were born on the same day, they were completely different. The first twin was Mary. Mary was tall, elegant, and breathtakingly beautiful. Her skin glowed like polished bronze in the sunlight, and whenever she walked through the village, men stopped whatever they were doing just to look at her. Some brought her gifts. Some brought her food. Some simply came to stand outside her mother's compound hoping she would greet them. But the second twin was Maryam. Maryam had a big waist and wide hips that made people look twice when she walked. Her face was soft and kind, with round cheeks and expressive eyes. But strangely, no man ever stayed long enough to ask for her hand in marriage. And slowly, that difference began to hurt her. Every morning, the twins walked together to the river to fetch fresh water and wash their clothes. The river was the center of village life. Women gathered there to talk, laugh, and share stories. But one morning, something happened that planted a dangerous seed in Maryam's heart. Two young fishermen walked past the riverbank. One of them whispered loudly, "Look at Mary today, even the sun is jealous of her beauty." The other laughed. "If I marry that one, my children will look like angels." Mary laughed and told them to stop talking nonsense. But Maryam said nothing. She continued pounding clothes against the stone harder and harder. Inside her heart, jealousy had already begun to grow. That evening many young men gathered outside Ibeji's compound. One brought honey. Another brought palm wine. Another brought kola nuts. All hoping to impress Mary. Maryam stood quietly in the doorway watching everything. Her chest burned with anger. "Am I invisible?" she whispered. The next day she walked alone through the village market, feeling ignored and forgotten. That was when she met a strange old woman sitting under a giant tree. The woman called her name. "Maryam, daughter of Ibeji." Maryam froze. "How do you know my name?" she asked. The old woman smiled mysteriously. "The wind carries many secrets." Then she leaned closer and whispered something shocking. "I know the pain in your heart. Your sister shines like the moon while you remain in her shadow." Maryam felt tears forming in her eyes. "Yes," she admitted quietly. The old woman slowly pulled out a small black pouch filled with dark powder. "What if the moon disappeared?" she asked. Maryam's heart began racing. "What do you mean?" The woman's voice dropped to a whisper. "Sprinkle this where your sister sleeps tonight, and by tomorrow, no man will ever look at her again." Maryam stared at the powder. Her hands trembled. But jealousy can make people do dangerous things. She took the pouch. Late that night, Maryam stood beside her sleeping sister. The black powder was in her hand. "If she disappears, the men will finally see me," she whispered. But suddenly a voice spoke from behind her. "Maryam, what is in your hand?" It was their mother. Maryam panicked. The pouch slipped from her fingers and fell to the ground. The powder scattered across the floor. And immediately, the wind rushed violently into the house. Mary's body began glowing like moonlight. Outside the village dogs began howling. Moments later villagers started knocking on the door in panic. Something terrible was happening. The men who had visited Mary earlier that evening had all collapsed. And the river had turned completely black. Soon the mysterious old woman appeared again, laughing in the darkness. She revealed a shocking truth. Mary had been chosen long ago by the spirit of the river goddess. And the powder had awakened that power. Mary's body slowly lifted into the air and began drifting toward the forest. The villagers followed in fear as she floated toward the river. The water rose violently like a giant serpent. It was ready to claim her. But suddenly Maryam stepped forward. "If someone must go, take me instead," she cried. The river goddess appeared above the water like a giant figure made of flowing light. "You caused the curse, yet you offer your life to save her?" the spirit asked. Maryam nodded through her tears. "She is my sister, my other half." For a long moment, the river goddess watched silently. Then the water slowly calmed. Mary gently fell back to the ground. The goddess spoke one final time. "Jealousy awakened the darkness, but love has defeated it." At that moment the witch screamed and vanished into smoke. The curse was broken. The river returned to normal. The village slowly became peaceful again. Mary hugged her sister tightly.